So, you're getting into the amazing sport of padel. Awesome. But you've probably hit your first big hurdle. Which racket should I actually buy? It can be super confusing, right? Well, today we're going to make that choice really, really simple.
And let's be real, the second you start shopping, it's just a lot. You're hit with hundreds of options, different shapes, weird weights, all this tech jargon. It's enough to make your head spin. But don't sweat it. We're going to cut through all that noise and give you a clear path.
Okay, let's get serious for a second because this isn't just a small decision. The stakes are actually pretty high. Choosing the right racket can be the difference between falling in love with the game and getting super frustrated. The wrong one can mess with your technique, slow down your progress. It can even lead to injury. So yeah, it's a big deal. So where do we start? Well, not with the rackets themselves. Nope. The very first thing, and honestly, the most important, is to figure out what kind of player you are. And really, it all comes down to this one simple question. Have you played sports like tennis or squash before? Or are you totally new to holding a racket? Be honest here, because the answer is going to steer everything else we talk about.
So why does this matter so much? Well, if you're a true beginner, your number one goal is finding a racket that's comfortable and easy to control. That's how you build good habits. But if you've got that tennis background, you're coming in with a head start on hand-eye coordination. You're probably going to progress a lot faster, so you can handle something a little more responsive right from the get-go. Okay, so once you've figured out your profile, now we can talk rackets. And for a beginner, it all boils down to three key things: the shape, the weight, and the materials. And we're just gonna walk through them one by one, super simple. First step is shape, then we'll nail down the weight, and finally, we'll talk about what the racket is actually made of.
All right, let's talk shape. There's really only one rule you need to remember as a beginner, and it's this: control is king. Forget about smashing the ball for now. Your main job is just to get the ball over the net and in the court consistently. And that rule makes our choice super easy. You want a round-shaped racket. Why? Because it has a massive sweet spot right in the middle, which makes it incredibly forgiving when you don't hit the ball perfectly. Now, you'll see those cool-looking diamond-shaped rackets. Just don't. Stay away from those for now. They're built for power, but they're unforgiving and really hard to control for a newcomer. Okay, part two, weight. And guess what? Just like with the shape, the advice here is super simple. Lighter is better. That's it. So grabbing a lighter racket, somewhere in that 340 to 365 gram range, gives you these huge wins. First, it's way easier to swing and react to fast shots. Second, and this is a big one, it helps prevent injuries like the dreaded paddle elbow. And third, it lets you actually focus on your technique, instead of just struggling to swing a heavy club around. All right, the last piece of our puzzle, the materials. This is all about how the racket feels when you hit the ball. It's really what determines comfort. And we're looking at two main components: what's on the surface of the racket and what kind of foam is on the inside. For a beginner, the perfect combo is pretty straightforward. On the surface, you want fiberglass. It's way more flexible and forgiving than the super stiff carbon fiber you see on pro rackets. And for the core inside, you're looking for a soft EVA foam. This stuff is amazing at soaking up vibrations, which means more comfort and less shock on your arm. So there you have it. We've talked shape, we've talked weight, and we've talked materials. Now let's wrap this all up into one easy-to-remember formula. We're calling this the beginner racket formula. It's basically the perfect recipe of all those things: shape, weight, materials, that's designed to make the game easy, fun, and help you get better without all the frustration. Think of this table as your ultimate cheat sheet. It's super simple. Just find yourself in that first column. Are you a true beginner? Okay, just follow that row across. You're looking for a round racket between 355 and 365 grams with a fiberglass face and soft core. That's your ticket to maximum control and comfort. Coming from tennis, you can see you've got a little more flexibility. You could even try a teardrop shape for a bit more pop. It's all right there. And you know what might be the best part of all of this? You do not need to break the bank. Seriously, a great beginner racket that fits this formula is almost always under $100. In fact, spending more money on some fancy advanced racket right now would actually be a mistake. It'll just make the game harder. So at the end of the day, it's about buying smart so you can play better. The whole point is to get a racket that helps you, a tool that makes learning fun, not something you're constantly fighting against on the court. Look, if you forget everything else, just remember these three words: round, light, and soft. That's it. That's the simple formula. If you find a racket with those three qualities, you're giving yourself the best possible start in this awesome sport.
So I'll just leave you with this one last thought to chew on. When you're looking at a racket, ask yourself this. Is this thing going to be a partner that helps me get better? Or is it going to be an obstacle I have to fight? Because getting that answer right, well, that's your first big win in paddle.